Okay, let me check our connections on Binance Live and across different social media platforms. Okay, great. I can see us over here. And welcome everyone to today's Romola show across different social media platforms. I'm Mola, your host, and I'm also head of community at Nimble. We're so glad to have Philip over here. He's CrossFi CGO, Chief Growth Officer, and joining us to discuss exciting innovations that CrossFi brings to the world of payments, right? PayFi is actually a trending topic. I've been hearing a lot of people saying about it, right? Especially during different conferences sessions, right, this year. And it seems like the PayFi booths are always crowded. So, Philip, we're so glad to have you. Would you like to briefly introduce yourself, your journey in the Web3 space, and tell us what is CrossFi doing now? Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on. Really excited to be here. As far as my journey, I have been in the crypto space since about 2015, early investor in Bitcoin, early investor in Ethereum. And since then, I mean, I've done a lot of interesting work with both big and small projects in the crypto space. I was very early to work with Decentraland as a marketing advisor. I was early to work with CoinList as a marketing advisor. And then since then, you know, I've kind of worked with dozens of companies in the crypto space. I spent a couple of years at Binance running growth for the DeFi project. So a lot of learnings, a lot of very, very interesting just very interesting exposure to, you know, just the overall crypto ecosystem at scale. And then basically since then, you know, I have kind of worked with, like I said, a bunch of really interesting projects, which has kind of led me to where I am today, which is the Chief Growth Officer of CrossFi. And, you know, the title is Chief Growth Officer, but really what it is that I do is I help companies acquire, activate, engage, and then ultimately turn users into ambassadors. And so I create those flywheels that then help companies scale up and kind of become successful stories.
I like you say, like, you turn users into ambassadors because it's really important, right? Once the user really believe in a product that they are going to spread the world, right? And then to let everyone know that, hey, we should use the project, we should use their product, right? We should and join the company and build together. This is very decentralized and very Web3 style. Thank you so much, Philip, for sharing your journey with us. And so and since you previously talk about your overall your role in CrossFi, right? Do you mind to give us a broader introduction about CrossFi and its product? Thank you.
I would love to. Yeah. So CrossFi, in its essence, is an ecosystem. It encompasses a layer one blockchain, encompasses a suite of extremely progressive DeFi tools, things like synthetic assets, RWA, and kind of the latest and greatest trends when it comes to DeFi. We have a very, very robust ecosystem of developers that are building products on top of the CrossFi blockchain. We have everything from GameFi to DePIN to AI projects, you know, really, really progressive teams that are building amazing stuff on top of our ecosystem. And last but not least, and I think for me personally, probably one of the most exciting things that CrossFi represents is our flagship payment technology. And so basically what we've built over the last 5 years is a truly non-custodial way for users to connect any Web3 wallet to the CrossFi app and be able to spend their Web3 tokens in the real world at any point of sale terminal anywhere in the world at a flat transaction fee with basically no custody of their tokens. So the tokens remain in your wallet, and all of these transactions happen directly on chain. And so for the first time in history, basically what we are offering users is a safe, secure, and scalable way to spend your crypto in the real world.
That is certainly very important because a lot of people, like especially OGs, I kind of feel like, oh, we are living in two different worlds. one is the real world Web 2, right, and the other is Web 3, and where we have a traditional bank account, right, but we also have our exchange accounts, and they are separate, and we have to going through different process, right, so that we could turn crypto into fiat and then use it in real life. So if CrossFi is doing, yeah, actually eliminating the gap, and also lots of procedures that people could conveniently use spending our cryptos in real life, that is fantastic. Friends, be sure to give CrossFi a follow. Right, their official X handle is CrossFi Chan. So does so since the name, right, is CrossFi Chan, as in the XID, I would like to know what type of chain is it and how does it work? Is it kind of like EVM or is it something different? Thank you.
Yeah, so CrossFi is both Cosmos and EVM compatible. We built that in order to ensure that our blockchain is extremely scalable, extremely quick when it comes to processing transactions. Then, of course, security is a massive concern for us. And to your previous point, I just wanted to highlight, I mean, I think there's definitely this trend right now in the world of, folks that have been in crypto for a long time and, might have made some profits in previous bull runs and kind of, have managed to really create a little bit of a treasure chest of crypto. And then I call it the what's next phenomenon, right? So now that I have this crypto and now that, kind of exists in my Web3 wallet, what's next? What can I do with it? Obviously I can go into a DeFi ecosystem. I can go into these Web3 ecosystem and can continue generating yield on it. How do I bring that into the real world? And so that is actually one of the big problems that CrossFi is solving. I think the other component is, and something that I am a huge advocate for and that I'm extremely passionate about, over 60% of the world is currently unbanked. Now, if you think about it, people like you and I are extremely fortunate to be able to have access to banking infrastructure. Right. We can put our money away safely. It's to some extent insured. We can then sort of use our cards or our checkbooks to then spend that money in the real world. But what happens when, as a user, I live somewhere where I just cannot open a bank account? I don't have access to that banking infrastructure. It basically prohibits me from interacting in the real world the way that you and I would. And so I think one of the big missions for CrossFi, aside from enabling, folks to kind of take the next step in the what's next phenomenon, is also being able to then transact in the real world the same way that you and I would as owners of bank accounts and having banking infrastructure. So just wanted to give that highlight. But back to your previous question, Cosmos EVM compatible, our goal really is to not only build a chain that supports our robust payment technology and that makes sure that we can support kind of the standard transaction speed, security, everything that you would expect from a traditional sort of banking infrastructure, so creating an alternative there, but also making sure that we are sort of working towards interoperability. I mean, I think we as crypto natives, we understand that chain agnostic is the future, right? And so even though obviously we are our own layer one blockchain, we are fully cognizant of the fact that the future is people being able to move seamlessly between chains and being able to move their funds around and being able to move their tokens around wherever it's convenient for them, for the use case that they're trying to solve for. And so of course, Cosmos and EVM compatible gives us that interoperability and kind of brings us closer to that chain agnostic world that we're building towards.
Wow, that is really nice. And just like you said, right? If we think about actually a lot of people in the world, they don't have access to any banking system. That's understandable. And no wonder I remember I watched some documentary, right? In certain countries, people actually used to using cryptos as a payment, right? When they go go to some farmers market to shop for groceries. And at first I was actually amazed. I was like, wow, they are kind of like advanced, right? So advanced. But then now I realize that because without a very stable banking system. So CrossFi is certainly solving the issue. And since that we know in this bull run, PayFi is a very hot trend, right? How does CrossFi compare with other projects? What's the difference and what made you stand out? Why the users wanted to choose to use CrossFi instead of others? Can you share more details about these? Thank you.
Yeah, so as we've been building the technology, it's not like it came about yesterday. We've been building CrossFi for the last 5 years. And so we've been fortunate to be able to see the different payment tech options come and go and sort of learn from their mistakes and understand, what does work, what does not work, where they went wrong, where they went right. And so what we've built at CrossFi is something that we believe solves for all of the problems that we've seen with previous payment tech providers that try to bridge the gap between crypto and TradFi. And so some of the things that sort of differentiate us from other providers are, first and foremost, our non-custodial product, right? I think when folks hear crypto card or when they hear crypto payments in the real world, they think of exchanges, right? Crypto.com, for example.
Right.
You have to move your tokens over to the exchange.
Mhm.
And, we as crypto natives, we know not your keys, not your coins, right? And so if anything at all goes wrong with this exchange, all of a sudden you lose access to your funds. And that's unacceptable. We at CrossFi believe that the user should never lose access to their funds, and we truly believe in self-custody and we believe in financial sovereignty. So that is first and foremost.
Mhm.
Secondly, because we work directly with our banking partners and don't go through third-party sort of infrastructural integration partners, we have created these very deeply embedded connections where the banks are actually interacting with the blockchain in order to process these transactions, right? So it's not like, the currency is being converted into a stable coin, then the stable coin is being sold for fiat currency, and the fiat currency makes the transaction, and then it kind of sends that feedback loop. No, the bank is interacting directly with our smart contracts, which I think just creates less potential points of failure, which, for us, providing a reliable service that is truly an alternative to traditional finance is probably the most important thing. And so that for us is, an extremely important step. And then I think last but not least, I mentioned security earlier, but I think, with CrossFi, there are layers to the way that we think about security, right? First and foremost, we kind of have passed every single standard, kind of penetration test, security audit, anything that you can imagine in the Web3 space. But then on top of that, we are also working under the security standards of our banking partners, which are obviously significantly higher because the banks are then responsible for, kind of the financial safety and well-being of their customers. And so to expose their customers to this kind of technology, they need to make sure that we comply at the standards that they set for their security.
Mhm.
And then on top of that, we go a step beyond and do things like recently we achieved PCI DSS certification, which, if you know anything about payments, is actually a very, very hard to get security certification. That is not a requirement necessarily for participating in the space, but we just want to go the extra mile to give our users the confidence knowing that their funds are safe, that the transactions are secure, and that all of this is protected under multiple layers of security protocols. And so, we didn't even double down, we tripled down on our security measures to make sure that, everything is as safe and secure as possible. So I would say those are kind of the main differentiators. And then aside from that, I mean, I'm personally a little bit biased, of course, but I think we've designed the most usable and the most user-friendly product out there. We have taken all the best parts from the popular payment technologies and have sort of understood, what works, what doesn't work, what makes users happy, what users are unhappy about. We've managed to integrate them into the CrossFi app. And so we believe we truly built a product that is a pleasure to use for the end users.
Nice. And things like you say, there's a CrossFi app. May I ask, well, is it available worldwide that we could just download the CrossFi app and then go to anywhere of the world that, and then just to start to use our crypto in our everyday life? How does that work?
Yeah, so the CrossFi app is actually coming soon to all
Mhm.
of the major app stores. We just recently, about a month ago, launched into mainnet after 5 years of building, after a year of very successful testnet that we launched with CoinList as a partner. And so part of that was to really make sure that not only does the underlying blockchain technology work exactly as expected and it scales and it's secure, but also the cards. We did a very, very intensive friends and family round. We had about 5,000 cards distributed worldwide. And there we were really trying to make sure, do the transactions process truly in every country around the world? Do they process quickly? Do they process reliably? Do we basically achieve the same type of transaction speeds, the scale of transactions, and the security of transactions as you would with a traditional debit or credit card? And so once we sort of gain the confidence into that, then we kind of went into mainnet and put the fundamental technology layer in place for us to be able to launch the app and the cards. And very shortly we are going to be offering open public orders for the CrossFi cards, and of course the CrossFi app, which you'll be able to download in every major app store.
That is just marvelous. Thank you so much, Philip, for letting us know about that. And looking forward to being able to use that because Liz has been, yeah, definitely a pinpoint, not just me, but to all of the Web3 users, right? And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, as we think back like over 10 years ago, how difficult it was to spend 1,000 Bitcoins to buy two pizzas, right? Or is that 10,000? Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was
Yep.
it definitely made history, right? How to connect with two in real life, right? So now with CrossFi, I feel like, wow, we are kind of like in the future already. So let's talk about some major collaborations. Can you tell us any upcoming events or upcoming plans that you would like to share with us? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of our major partnerships recently was actually with Alchemy. We have integrated Alchemy as our kind of overall RPC endpoint provider, and some of the underlying fundamental technologies to help builders be extremely successful building on the CrossFi chain. So that was one that we announced publicly. And then, over the last year or so, as we were running our testnet concurrently, kind of one of the strategies that we were playing out was, what are the most interesting partnerships that we could potentially secure in the space? How do we get some amazing teams to come over and start building products on the CrossFi chain? And so over the next 6 months, you will see a ton of these announcements coming out, a ton of these products shipping. And I think that's something that we're all extremely excited for. And then, of course, like I mentioned, the CrossFi app and the CrossFi cards are going to be coming to market very shortly. So, definitely another thing to look out for. And then I think, last but not least, when I talk about the CrossFi ecosystem, we talk about the retail payment technology or people building great products, but I think what doesn't necessarily maybe get enough spotlight and what should is our suite of DeFi tools. I think we have all of our standard kind of swaps and borrowing protocols and lending protocols and everything that you would expect, but we also have some extremely progressive and innovative tools. We are doing a lot of work with real world assets, RWA. We are doing a lot of work with synthetic assets. We are doing some really interesting things with multi-chain yield aggregators. And so, definitely pushing the envelope when it comes to progressive DeFi tools. And so, also very excited for folks to dive in and start using the ecosystem and really start being able to generate significant yield using the tools that are built on CrossFi. So I would say, of all of the things that I can mention publicly at the moment, those are some of the interesting ones. And then, of course, like with any good project, behind the scenes, there's a lot of things that I maybe can't talk about today, but if we have a follow-up call, maybe a couple of months from now, I think
Uh-huh.
we will all know exactly what I meant by some things that were under wraps that are going to be coming to market.
That is just amazing. Yeah, and actually I remember we scheduled the session over a month ago, which means the CrossFit team is certainly prepared, right, for a lot of things that's coming up. So do you mind to share some more like roadmaps or upcoming plans or any ongoing activities that our Binance Live community could participate in? How, if they wanted to be involved in as a CrossFi ecosystem, what's the best way to do? Thank you.
Yeah, so I would say probably the best point to start is just by visiting our website, www.crossfi.org, and just going down the rabbit hole. We have all of our products listed on there. We have all of our technical documentation listed on there, all of our official links. And so, because it's a robust ecosystem and because there's so many different pieces that appeal to different types of users, I like to say there's something for everybody. If you are a DeFi degen, boom, go dive into our suite of DeFi tools and really play around and see what you can do there. If you're a builder and you have an amazing idea for a project, well, fantastic. Dive in, open up our technical documentation. We have a really, really helpful support community when it comes to technical support on our Discord. So please join our Discord and talk to our folks there, literally there to help you build successful projects. And then of course we have the CrossFi Foundation, which is a separate entity from CrossFi. But the CrossFi Foundation, really the only goal there is to support the growth of the CrossFi ecosystem. So if you have a great idea for an app or a dApp that you want to build on the CrossFi blockchain, the CrossFi Foundation potentially has grants that they can offer as well to help support the development there, and all kinds of support across the marketing, distribution, funding, technical support, so on and so forth. And of course, obviously, follow us on our socials, wherever you consume content. If you're on X or Telegram or LinkedIn or whatever have you, we are always bringing our community everything new first before we really put it out there publicly and start broadcasting it. And so if you want to be one of the first people to know about what we're doing at CrossFi, what's coming, what's on the roadmap, follow our socials, follow our news distribution channels, and you'll be one of the first folks to know about it.
That is very nice. Thank you so much, Philip, for letting us know about that. And one last question over here, because our AMA audience are also curious about, for example, is it going to be kind of like the swipe credit card thing or a swipe app? Like you can just show your QR code and at a grocery store or supermarket and then scan the QR code and then pay it. And then the system will automatically like swap USDT or USDZ or any cryptos into fiat of a local place? And how about regulations in different countries?
Yeah, great question. So I'll start with the regulations piece.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the most important things that I've learned over my career in the crypto space is to ensure that the companies that are the most successful in crypto do not work against regulators. They actually work with regulators. I think one of the things that I've learned is that when you sort of go against the grain when it comes to regulations, you actually stunt progress. You slow progress down because you're fighting all of these battles. But when you work with regulators, when you work with local government bodies, when you work with all of the regulatory committees that kind of oversee crypto in all of the different geographies, you start to create collaborations. You start to create a unified understanding of what needs to happen in order for all parties to feel comfortable, for the users to be protected, for all of the different financial repercussions of your transactions to be represented accurately and properly and securely and safely, of course. And so we work with local regulating bodies to ensure that we are compliant in every geography. Mm-hmm. And we kind of have spent a lot of time making sure that we tailor our technology to the local governing and regulating bodies that we work in and the geographies that we work in to make sure that we are compliant. And now over to the actual payment technology and how it works, it's literally as simple as that. The process for CrossFi is you take your Web3 wallet, you connect it to the CrossFi app, you hold a certain amount of tokens. So you basically tell CrossFi, you can only touch these tokens in my wallet, everything else is off limits. So you're allocating a specific amount of tokens that and use in any store in any location that has a point of sale terminal that you can then process your transaction with. And all of these transactions happen very quickly, the same speed as you would expect to have with a debit or a credit card, very, very securely, like I talked about earlier, and with a flat transaction fee. So I think that's another thing that is really important. Some of the other crypto payment products, they have a fluctuating transaction fee,
Right.
which I think for a user is a little bit unreliable. So if I'm buying a coffee, that coffee can either cost me $3 or it can cost me $15, depending on where I am, depending on the time of day. And we believe that that's unfair to the retail market. We believe that users want consistency and stability. And so we've integrated a flat transaction fee into our products because we believe that that's the best possible user experience, even if it does come at the cost of potentially less transaction fees for us. We believe that delivering a better product into the market is going to help achieve mass adoption, is going to help achieve scale. And at that point, everybody wins.
Ah, that's really convenient. Yeah, so really hope that there are more and more places that could be able to just simply use CrossFi system, right, and then to make our life more convenient. Especially, I kind of strongly feel like after the U.S. presidential election, I believe more institutions or VCs or different areas or countries that they are going to embrace Web3 or crypto, right? And really change the mindset. Otherwise, I know in a lot of places that people are still kind of like doubt about what exactly crypto is, kind of like an air, right? Because we cannot see it, but it's on chain, it's actually a layer. So
Yeah.
and being able to spend crypto in our everyday life would help people change their mindset. This is really important. Thank you so much, Philip, for joining us today. And before we wrap up the session, do you have any additional information that you want to share with our audience? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think, first and foremost, go check out our website, crossfi.org. You can find all of the information about our entire ecosystem there. And then, of course, if you want to follow up or have any questions or just want to talk shop and talk about, crypto, Web3, payment technologies, anything like that, you can find me on X at GoFillionaire. You can find me on LinkedIn at Fillionaire. And basically anywhere in the web space, you can find me, my YouTube channel at Fillionaire, so on and so forth. And so, always available and always interested to connect with folks and talk shop and, just kind of spread the word about what we're building and meet some really smart and interesting people. And I think, last but not least, I just want to close this off by actually congratulating everybody that is listening to this space right now. I think, congratulating the people that have been in crypto for a very long time, that have managed to hold on. And, we're seeing all-time highs. We're seeing this massive bull run. So definitely huge congratulations to those people. But I think even more so, congratulations to the people that are just learning about cryptocurrency today. We are just starting. Cryptocurrency is just starting to emerge as a true alternative to the world of finance. I think anybody that is listening to this, that is just learning about cryptocurrency, that is just kind of figuring out the space, congratulations, because you are still early. There's still so much potential out there. And I am extremely excited what happens over the next decade, what happens over the next 2 decades. Cryptocurrency is absolutely here to stay. And now it is our job to embrace the technology, to continue innovating, and to continue pushing the boundaries of what's possible with this technology. So yeah, congrats to everybody. And of course, wishing everybody, most importantly, health, because I think that is the most important thing in life. And even more important than magic internet money.
Wow, thank you so much, Philip. Yes, I already follow you on X, and let's keep in touch. Looking forward to inviting you to be back to our Binance Live channel, and in about 2 months, right after the official launch of
Absolutely.
CrossFi app, and let's see how you use it. This is going to be very exciting. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thank you.
Bye. I'm going to close our backstage, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow, this is just an amazing session. We learned a lot about how PayFi works, right? And we also learned that so many people are working very hard to help us have a very convenient way to spend our cryptos. That is very important. So, friends, I highly recommend you all to give CrossFi a follow so that you will not miss all the major updates that's coming soon. I'm so excited about this. And I'm Moonlight, down speaking. See you next time. Bye.